Alright, so SUMARI Dark Arts video 133. Let's get the session started. So, when you get to a point, right, in your conscious dreaming state, experiments and journeys and travels, you will see there's a lot of videos out there that talk about documentation, recording everything, your dream journal, keeping your dream journal. All of those things are good. They're all good. But as I have said in the past, or at least I'll speak on going forward, my videos are more geared towards the advanced individuals. Now, I'm not saying that if you are a so-called beginner that you can't watch these videos and they won't be beneficial to you. I truly believe that by you studying the advanced material and the advanced concepts that we talk about, you attempting to do them alone is what's going to give you that extra boost to kind of force your way into what you're trying to do or what you're trying to reach to. So, yeah, don't worry about, there are millions of other people on YouTube talking about hand checks and reality checks and all of that. And, I'm not against that, that's fine. But I'm looking to push you in a bit of a different direction. And there's something that you have to think about sometimes, right? Like, there will come a point in your studies, there will come a point where you won't feel the need to document every single thing that happens in the dream state. And sometimes that could even be, it could work against you. And I'll tell you how. Because when you document every single thing, sometimes that could become an obsession in itself where you start to overanalyze everything that happens. And there are a lot of books out there about dream journals telling you, not dream journals, dream dictionaries basically telling you about what to expect, what this dream means. A black cat means that, a falling apple from a tree equals this. And pretty much they're all wrong because no one can interpret your own dreams but you. You have to be the one to interpret your own dream symbolism. It's very personal. So yeah, a falling cat could mean bad luck for one, and it could mean something great for another. Falling cat, falling apple, whatever, it doesn't matter. But it's all subjective and private to you. So what happens is you get so wrapped up in what does every single thing mean in the dream. If you could spend a lifetime analyzing just one dream scenario. Why was the grass green? Why did it turn red? Why was the walls of the apartment I was in blue? Why did the man walk across the street and say hello to me? Was that a probable self? Was that someone from an alternative timeline? Was that a, what do you call it? It could be anything. You could look at it to be anything, really. And you could over analyze everything to the point where you'll just be thinking about all these little details. And anyone who has experience in the dream state, right? Conscious dream state now, or out-of-body states. We all talk about, oh, we could do anything we want. We can fly. We can do this. We can do that. You can control every aspect of the dream. But I've mentioned this in the past. Yeah, you can, but there's always a type of, I don't want to say limitation to what you can do, but you're not literally controlling every single aspect of the dream. Do you even want to do that? I don't think you do. Do you want to sit down, like, you spend all this time, let's say you're an individual who's never had a conscious dream before. You finally make the breakthrough, boom, you're in it. Do you really want to spend this, you don't know how long it could take. This dream state could last you literally, in terms of your physical world, concept of time, just say a minute or 5 minutes. Do you want to spend 5 minutes, say, okay, I want the walls to be blue, and I want, getting done, hairstyle done by this one over here. But yeah, Do you really want to worry about all that type of stuff? No, you want to enjoy the dream. Now, who knows what you want to do is very personal. You might want to make love to a woman, to a man, maybe both. That's your business. Maybe you want to fly. Maybe you want to move things with your mind. Maybe you want to time travel. Maybe you want to see a loved one. There are a lot of things that people want to do in these states. And the last thing you want to do is spend time on, okay, the carpet is blue. What does that mean to me? I don't want a blue carpet. I want to change it to red. Okay, I'm going to use my powers to change the carpet to red. You're wasting time here. So this is the point you have to get to, right? You have to reach a point where it's like, okay, you have to understand the overall theme of the experience that you're having. Not stare at every single little detail. Now, once again, you can do that if that's what you choose to do. If you want to focus on every little detail, then hey, more power to you. Focus on every little detail. But what I'm saying is that once you get past the stages of you want to overanalyze every detail, what does this mean? What does that mean? You come to understand that the dream states are realities. These are actual realities that are taking place. And it's very similar to, say, for example, in waking reality, right? In physical reality, you go out for your day, right? You know what a nice day is. You know a nice day when you see it. The sun is out, it's beautiful weather, people are walking around, people are shopping, kids are running around. But you just know a nice day when it happens. You don't have to overanalyze and say, okay, was this a nice day? Okay, what happened? The sun was out. And exactly at 12:05, a little boy crossed the street bouncing a basketball. I mean, you don't have to overanalyze it. You know it was a beautiful day. So, with that same thought, you have to go forward with the dream state and any of your non physical states that you find yourself in and find the overall theme. What was happening? What was going on at the time? What was the purpose of the whole overall theme of everything coming together? Not breaking down every single small, minute detail in the experience because you will most likely lose the overall meaning of it because you're overanalyzing everything. Sometimes a red carpet is just a red carpet. It had to be a color, right? It had to be something. Now, yes, you could overanalyze it and you could say, well, maybe the red represents blood or represents death or represents my mother. It could represent anything you believe it does because it's your dream to interpret. But in doing so, you may also lose more important information of what was happening. Maybe there was something going on. Maybe a message was trying to be told to you through the whole scenario as a whole, not each small minor detail in it. And when you look at the overall picture, you might be missing something that is being trying to be told to you. So you have to go into these states, right? Yeah, you have to go into the states. See, you have to go into these states, and you have to basically download everything, encapsulate everything in one look, one view, and just say, okay, this is what's happening. And I've developed this technique a long time ago where when I find myself in moments that tend to be joyful, whether it be just something that's happy, and it could be anything that brings you joy, right? Doesn't matter what it is. And you have to take in that moment because what you can do is within your internal landscape, you can revisit that moment in physical time, but revisit it in your inner world and keep going back to it and re-experience it or relive it. And you don't have to be dead to do that. You could do that now in this reality that we have. But the only way you could do that, though, is by absorbing all the information at one time as much as you can. That's going to bring you back to that moment. So this is why they say that a lot of times when you think of your past memories, they tend to change. They're not exactly as you remember them. Sometimes you remember it 100%, this is what happened, but it's not actually what happened. And that's because all time is simultaneous and everything is constantly changing. So when you are going back to that experience in your memory and say, okay, I remember this happened on my 5th birthday. A clown jumped out the closet and he started doing backflips and then he started juggling. But then you go, wait a minute, did that really happen? Or did he not do backflips and he didn't juggle? He pulled out some pigeons, and then someone comes along who was there and they go, no, no, yeah, he did pull out some pigeons. And another person says, no, he didn't pull out pigeons. He started juggling. And then you have this conflict here of ideas of what actually happened. And the truth is, all of it happened. He did come out the closet. He did do backflips. Now, what kind of clown is this? I don't know what type of kids party this is, but it's something out there that exists. And yeah, all of those events actually did happen. Each person's story is correct. What what was happening though is that each person is remembering it from an alternative timeline, and their thoughts of it has also changed. So everything is shifting around, and the key point is that you have to try to remember exactly what was happening in as much detail as possible. Now, this is when you have a good experience, right? Look around you, absorb it all. What are you feeling right now? What is the temperature in the room? What do you feel under your feet? What does the ground feel like? Are you wearing shoes or not? But all of this will be done because you're in physical reality. You have the time to do all of this, right? See what I'm saying? Like, because you're in awakened reality, time is not flowing the same way as it does in inner reality. In physical reality, you can take the time and enjoy in a joyous moment or a happy moment and try to download everything. And you could take a bit of time to do it. You get the colors, the feeling, the sound, all of it. In the dream state, you got to move a little bit faster because things are moving quickly. One scene can shift to another, especially if you are not as developed as some other individuals. It may seem like things are just jumping from scene to scene. That usually happens when you are not as strong as you could be. When you're not as strong as you could be, it seems like your dream state, you're just shuffling around and shifting from one scene to the next, to the next, to the next. And when you become more advanced or more stronger with your mental states, you don't jump around that much. You stick in one scenario, one reality, unless you want to shift it and you want to change it. So it's not really so much as you have no control, and the dream state is just you flying around from reality to reality. I'll give you an example, right? Many of you may have experienced what has been called, or what is called, dream classes. And in these classes, you may find yourself someone teaching you something in the dream state. It could be how to fly, it could be how to use your mind and move things, also known as telekinesis. It could mean how to time travel. It could be anything. It could be anything. And these individuals, it will seem like a training session. Now, you might be in a classroom, you might not be in a classroom setting. You could be out in the field, you could be anywhere, you could be in a city. But the overall theme is that someone or something, some entity, some form in the shape of a human being or a non-physical being will be trying to teach you something and show you something on how to use these abilities. And a lot of times, these are portions of yourselves that are manifesting in different ways that are impressive to you. And sometimes it could be other entities that are doing this, but that's for you to figure out at that time. The key point is, though, you will, let's say, you'll be learning these talents in a non-physical realm. And as you learn them, you have to, Samara made me lose my train of thought over here. Yeah, you're going to learn these talents. Someone's going to be training you. And all right, I got it. Thank you. So I was talking about jumping willy-nilly from dream state to dream state, where it seems like you're just bouncing all around, you have no control. This comes with time. And basically, the other night, there was a dream session that I was in, a non-physical state, where I was teaching someone how to fly. And they were standing on the ledge of a building, and I've been in this scenario many times already, and standing on the edge of a building, and I was explaining to them, I said, listen, it's very easy. You just Don't think about it too much, but watch me closely. And at first, I jumped off the building and kind of went up in the air and turned around and held my position, looked down at them and said, all right, now I'm going to come back to you. And I held on to them, pulled them closer, and I said, now I'm going to go first with both of us, and I'll gently let you go. We went up in the air, and I let them go. But I was holding their hand, and they were able to do it. Now, I've been through this scenario many, many, many times with other individuals in a non-physical state. And who are these individuals? It could be anyone. It could be individuals from other realities, and this is their first experience. It could be people in your physical reality. Doesn't mean they're going to necessarily know you or remember you. They might even remember the whole experience at all, but it will stick with them in some form or some way. And in that experience, right, as I was teaching them how to fly, I said, okay, I'm going to let your hand go. But if I let your hand go, there's a possibility you might jump to another reality because the connection, you might not be strong enough to hold this connection. So stay focused on me. If you lose me, though, don't panic. And wherever you end up, nothing could hurt you, but just focus on me, focus on my voice. And I let their hand go, and they were gone. Now, where did they go? I don't know. And they'll be okay wherever they ended up at. And there was another night, another time. Now, this is, I'm giving specific examples, but there are many. I have these, this happens all the time with me. Teaching people how to use telekinesis is very simple. Just say, for example, if you're trying to use these abilities, you can start very simple, right? Now, some of you might just get it very quickly, and that's good. That's great. Some of you might just have that natural talent. But for others, you might need to do a little bit of work. And sometimes you have to include a little bit of three-dimensional physics in the non-physical state just to get the juices going and as it to be something that you could comprehend. So what I would recommend you to do is you find something in the dream state when you're there. It could be literally anything. It could be a small coin. It could be a soda top. Anything that's small. Just whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Just pick up something that you see around you in the dream state, right? You pick it up, hold your hand, and what you do is you gently just like throw it up in the air, like if you had like a coin or something in your hand, and you throw it up and then you catch it. Like just literally just like throw it up, catch it, throw it up, catch it. And this is how you begin the process. And you throw it up, and when you throw it up the first time, you try to hold it in the air. Now, it might just levitate a few inches above your palm, but you do this, you throw it up, and it could be anything. Pick it up, throw it up in the air, and hold out your hand and try to prevent it from hitting the palm coming back down to your hand. And this is just the beginning stage of how you get it. Now, over time, you can find your own variations of this. You could go about moving things bigger. But here's the thing with moving things bigger, right? If you are not as experienced with moving larger things like cars, people, buildings, what happens is you are using these mental or psychic consciousness muscles in this non-physical state. So what happens is the more difficult the objective is that you're trying to perform or do, the more likely you're going to be bounced back to your waking state. You're going to wake up in your bed because you're using a little bit too much power than you are used to. So this is why I say start out small. And this is with everything, even with teleportation, things like that, of that nature. I mentioned in an old video a long time ago, I tried to move a whole building one time, and it was working. The building was shifting, it was starting to rumble, and right as I began to lift it up, I got bounced back to my body, and I woke up in my bed. I thought, all right, but that was just a little bit too much. I was a little too ambitious on that one, but over time, I eventually got it, and very quickly too. But yeah, now another thing to explain that you may experience in the dream state. We all have this feeling that you know when you're about to wake up, right? It's just a feeling. You just know. You can't explain it. But it's a specific feeling that you know right before you're about to wake up. It's like you feel something that, oh man, I'm about to wake up. You could, and I've done it, so that means that you could do it, force yourself to stay into the dream longer. Now, how do you do it? It's a bit difficult to explain because it's nothing that I could just show you and say, okay, this is how you do it. But by you just attempting to find your way of how to do it, you may achieve it. But basically, for me, it's more of like, and I remember years ago, I used to always knew when I was about to wake up. You just feel it, right? And I remember being a kid, you would have that feeling, and you're like, oh man, it usually happen when, especially when going back to using too much energy, right? It's like every time you have these sexual dreams, right? Dreams of a sexual nature, you're having a good time, you got that girl from the next classroom or the neighbor or whoever that you always wanted, you finally get her, and right before you're about to do the deed, what happens? You wake up. And that's because you had a little bit too much energy, whether it's in the form of hormones, excitement, combination of all. You got too excited and it bounced you back to the reality, awakened reality. And as you get stronger over time, and individuals who have reached that level, you notice that at some point you'll be able to go through a full love session without waking up because you've learned to control yourself. And it's kind of complex, it's kind of interesting, right? Not complex in a way that you can't do it, but just complex and it's like you're juggling two things at one time. You're over here trying to have an encounter with someone, but you also know don't get too excited. So it's kind of like you're juggling in your mind. All right, I want to do this, and I'm having a good time with her or him or whatever. But you also know don't get too excited because you do feel this. It's like a type of pulling. You could literally feel physical reality pulling you back. You feel like your consciousness. I'm not saying the physical reality is pulling you back, but I'll put it like this. You feel your consciousness refocusing. Yeah, that's better. You feel your consciousness refocusing back to physical reality, and it's starting to get pulled back into that direction. Even though there are no directions, but you get the point. You feel yourself being pulled, you feel your consciousness being pulled and refocused. See, all your focus is here. You're in non physical reality, but you start to feel the focus being shifted into back into the waking world. And what I just started to do was I refocused myself back into the non-physical state by sheer willpower. That's the only way I could explain it. It's like, hey, I feel myself going back. I don't want to go back. And I refocused my attention and energy back to the non-physical state and really focused, as I said before, waking state, you take in all the information, you take in everything, all the details, while doing that, but in reverse. Now you're doing it in the dream state, in the non-physical state, you're taking it all in, and you're kind of, in a way, pushing physical reality, waking world, kind of out of your thought process by a sheer force of will. Like just forcing it out, like, no, I'm not going back to that yet. And I've done it many times where I was about to wake up and I felt myself coming back, and I extended it not just by, well, in the very beginning, it started with just say like an extra minute or extra 2 minutes. And I was happy with that. But over time, as I got stronger, I was able to just, by force of will, by willpower, force myself to get bounced back. It's almost like a feeling of being reset, where you've had this whole dream scenario, this whole non physical adventure, and it's like, all right, well, it's coming to an end, I'm about to wake up, and then you feel yourself pulling back, and I just said, well, I don't want to go back. I'm having a good time here, and I forced my way mentally or psychically back into the non-physical state, and it's almost as if everything reset, like the whole time frame of non-physical state. And then there's no time, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The length of time of what it feels like time in a non-physical state reset, and it's like I had a whole nother adventure, as if for a whole nother night, and it kicked off. So these are things that, oh, you want to give me a kiss? All right. But yeah, these are things that you can experience for yourselves. And yeah, the key point of all of this is just that don't become too fixated on every small detail of what happens in the dream state, where you have to document every single thing. Documentation's good. Documentation's great, especially when you're in the beginning stages of doing all this stuff and attempting it, because remember, you have no frame of reference. So your frame of reference is you. No one can show you their dream state. Even now with me, the best I could do is try to give you an idea or a framework that you can try yourself to imagine and make it work for you. But no one can journey through your own subjective reality but you. Yeah, so you document, you have your dream journal, but at some point you got to put down the pen and pencil or the keyboard if you're typing it, and you got to say, all right, I get it already, but now I want to just enjoy the dream state. I want to enjoy the non-physical state. I don't want to have to focus on what is every single thing happening. I want to just enjoy the journey and take it as it is, take it for what it is and stuff. And another part of that is that when you keep writing things down, now, once again, I'm not saying don't write down. If you feel you have to, you do it. But I'm referring to my more advanced individuals here. It all comes back to what I said in the previous videos about just understanding what you are. See, when you write things down, right, I'll explain how it kind of works against you, right? You say, okay, I woke up, I gotta document everything, gotta write my dreams down. Now, this is good, but then it also sometimes could be bad, because what you're hinting to your inner self is, I need to do this because if I don't, I'm going to forget everything. I need to do this because if I don't do it, I'm not going to be able to recollect my dream states. I won't be able to cross over again, so I have to, you know, obsessively write every single detail down of what's going on. When you understand what you are, and you know that you're a multidimensional being, you know that all these things is just a natural process of your daily existence, you don't have to document everything. You just know, hey, it is what it is, man. Tonight I'm going to travel, or today, or when I go for a nap, or if I'm just going to do a conscious meditation right now, and wherever I go is where I go, or go to where I'm trying to get to. But yeah, you don't have to feel the need to just keep writing everything down. So remember all of this, what I just told you. And yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. Write in the comments if you have any questions about anything. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's good for the channel. When other people see that the numbers are high, unfortunately, in this reality, that gives the illusion that something has value. So if you subscribe and other people come in, if they see the subscription numbers are up, then they might feel more inclined to subscribe and they'll stick around longer. And comment in the comment section. If you get the conversation going, some of you have, I appreciate it, then more people won't be shy and they'll chime in, and then things just keep snowballing and get bigger and bigger. So that's it for now. I'll leave it at that. And yeah, I'll come back with another one soon. All right, guys, take care. Love you.